Well, this is a wonderful time at camp, as we normally are here. And of course, this year we are without Matt Schoenecker because Matt Schoenecker has moved. But I think Matt Schoenecker found a way to be at camp. And so we're grateful, in a way, to God that he really showed us a heroic act of love, sacrificing his life to try to save Val. And we'll miss him dearly, but I am certain that he's in heaven, even though we'll continue to pray for him. One of the greatest things about Matt, knowing him very well, is that he always tried to do the will of God. And I think in that moment, he didn't even hesitate, didn't even think about the fact that he might risk his life to save the other person's life. So we're grateful.
So, Matt Schoenecker was an awesome man. I first met him in 2014 when I had just joined Opus Dei, and he was my first spiritual director. And he taught me a lot then, and then when I moved into Tilden Study Center back 3-4 years ago, we lived together for the following 3 years. And what strikes me, and I'm sure you've heard this a lot from a lot of people, is just his spirit of service and how he focused totally on the other people, whether it was us, the center, or here at camp, the staff at camp, or the campers. He was always focused on other people, and I think the way he demonstrated that is in his life.
What Matt meant to me and my friends and fellow counselors who have been part of this Opus Dei Tilden program is unmatched by any mentor that we've ever had. He was always ready to serve. He would drive down 2 hours from LA just to come play sports with us or go to lunch with us on a Saturday. He was always ready to mentor us, pick up a phone call if we needed. And what stood out to me the most is that, even though we were young and didn't always listen to him at camp or we'd mess around, we know we always looked up to him more than any other mentor we've had. And he left a bigger impact that no teacher at school has matched. No adults in our life have really shown to us in such a way. So we're going to miss him, but I know he's looking down on us from heaven, and he'll be praying for us for sure.
Matt Schoenecker was truly one of the most humble and virtuous men I ever knew. He inspired many people with his faith, his strength, and his charity, but to me, he inspired service. You truly showed me the gift of service and what it meant to live for others. Thank you, Matt.
Well, when I first moved to Los Angeles in 2021, Matt picked me up from the airport. And then when Matt moved away from Los Angeles in 2024, last year, I dropped him off at the airport. So it was great to spend so much time with Matt in the 3 years that we overlapped here. One of the things that jumps out to me is that we would often have lunch together. And when I started to say something in the conversation, he would just really focus in on me and what I was saying. Like, he'd almost give this look, and like he was clearly just paying attention and giving me everything. And I think, it's great. This was going to be the first year that, after 12 years, I think, of him directing Tilden Summer Camp, this would have been the first year not at camp. And I think, it's a really beautiful thing that, in a way, I think he's still with us at camp now, watching over the camp from heaven. So we're very grateful to him and praying a lot to him that we all have a wonderful camp here.
So Matt was an amazing mentor to me, and I'm really grateful for all the time I had that I got to spend with him. And he was a great example to everybody with his incredibly heroic acts. And I'm just truly grateful for all the advice and help that he gave me and how he pushed me to be the best version of myself.
Matt was the kind of guy who remembered the littlest things about me, even like things I've forgotten I've ever told him, and because the things that I never really saw Matt, I saw Matt, and he's my mentor. We talked like every month or so, or like, every week, but he didn't see me the most out of all my friends, but he seemed to know me and care and love me more than anyone I ever knew. And that really struck me, and I think the thing that Matt taught me was that, to truly love someone, you have to pray for them. And I know for sure that Matt was praying about every single little thing I told him. And because of that, I could see in him that he really cared about like every little fault of mine, every passion of mine, every little thing about me, because he took them to prayer.
All right, one of my favorite things about Matt is not the things that he did, but the character traits that defined him. So when you would sit down and you would talk to him and actually have a one-on-one conversation, he would listen with his big blue eyes. He would just listen to you, and you would talk to him, and it wouldn't even really matter what you had to say, but he would just listen and be super attentive. And that's who Matt Schoenecker was, is that he would listen to others, and he was a man for others. And that's why I have no doubt that he's now in a much better place than he was a couple weeks ago. So we love him very much, and we hope that he does way better things in heaven now.
Well, I joined the camp back in 2021, and then I became a counselor in 2022, and I didn't know Matt well as a camper, but getting to know him as a counselor was really wonderful, because the guy, he was so attentive. Whenever he'd speak to you, you could really tell that he cared deeply about what you were saying to him. He cared deeply about you and you making progress in your own life, you know, in whatever way he could help you do that. I remember at counselor training, you know, doing flips over the barrels with him. He was an incredible athlete too. He was an inspiration to all of us also because of his faith and how incredibly patient he was, because, you know, as counselors, sometimes we're a lot to handle. You know, the camp itself is very difficult to control, but Matt would always deal with it in a very patient, in a holy way, really. He was a very holy man, and God bless him, he still is. He was the best of us, I think, at Tilden. He was a very holy guy, and he's going to be missed.
Yeah, so I've known Matt since I was just a little kid. I started coming to this Tilden summer camp in 6th grade, and, you know, since then, every year he's been the director. And moving on from the Tilden camps, I've also ended up going to a lot of formational events run by the Tilden Study Center, of which Matt was the director. And I can really truthfully say that Matt was just such an amazing friend, a mentor, and a real inspiration to me. There were circumstances, you know, times in my life where I started wondering, you know, where do I get my mannerisms or certain things from, you know, the way I talk to people. And I realized when I started thinking about it, like, wow, Matt actually has the exact same mannerisms as me. And it turns out I had unconsciously, you know, been formed by Matt and ended up taking on all of his own mannerisms. And I think that really just shows how much he's formed me, how much I've grown because of him. And I can really truthfully say that, and I'm convinced of this, that I'm a better man because of him.
Yeah, it just strikes me that is those small things that he really focused on, you know, and really that was how he served others, was in the small things, obviously up into his life. And really, that service, that spirit of service is something that I at least am trying to imitate, and we're all trying to imitate, I think, because, yeah, we may not have the chance to give our life in the way that he gave it, or in the way that other people have given it, in the one big moment, you know, jumping to save someone in a waterfall, jumping on a grenade to save your comrades. But that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to give our life, not in one moment, but over our entire lives. And so if we live with that spirit of service that Matt lived, and if we try to imitate that and try to do better, then I think we'll be in the right place, that if God were to call us to do something big like that, we would follow that.